Warning, this video contains spoilers for Season 6 of The Walking Dead. So, we're finally at the end of Season 6, and we're left with one of the biggest cliffhangers in the show's history. Who does Negan brutally kill in the final scene? The obvious answer so far has been Glenn, due to the fact that this was indeed his death scene in the comics. But the show has shown us many times that it doesn't intend to follow the comics word for word. For example, Denise's death scene was actually Abraham's death scene in the comics. So I think killing Glenn here is a little too obvious. If Negan kills Glenn, I see it happening next season, not this season. I also doubt that Maggie was the victim of Negan's execution, as it was pretty clear to him that she might be dying already anyways.
Jesus, you look shitty.
Sasha, Aaron, Eugene, and Rosita are all minor characters in my opinion. Killing any of them off in this way would feel underwhelming, especially after the long wait for Season 7. Negan himself pretty much rolled out Rick and Carl when he said,
Anybody moves, anybody says anything, cut the boy's other eye out and feed it to his father.
so both of them are highly unlikely. Which leaves us with Abraham, Daryl, and Michonne. All three of these are viable options, but of the three of them, Abraham's death would definitely be the least impactful. They're going big with this kill. We haven't seen a major death in the show since Season 5 when they killed off Beth. That and the fact that they already spared Abraham from his comic book death scene tells me they have something bigger planned for him. So let's assume for a minute that everything I've said so far is true, that the person Negan kills is either Daryl or Michonne.
I watched so many times trying to figure out the angle of where everyone was and where he came. And
We knew you would.
Yeah, and it's a bit impressionistic.
yeah,
There's a bit of jumping around there.
yeah.
Because we knew that people would be zaprudering it, and
As they should. There's some hints there.
So let's take a look at a few possible clues the final episode gave us, which some of you might have missed. As you already know, Negan's execution scene was shot in first person. This, however, was not the only first-person scene in this episode. There were a total of 8 first-person scenes throughout the episode, the first of which was the opening scene. So they started the episode in first person and ended the episode in first person. Makes perfect sense to me that we would be seeing through the eyes of the same person throughout all 8 point-of-view scenes. If this is true, then the person Negan kills has to be one of the 4 people that were previously captured and stored in the van. Those 4 people were Rosita, Glenn, Daryl, and Michonne. After playing back each first-person scene frame by frame, I caught something that I had missed during the first viewing. The first 4 scenes didn't show much. The 5th one, however, shows something very important. We can clearly see Daryl's head in the bottom left corner, which confirms that the point of view camera is in fact not Daryl's. The camera angle definitely appears to be coming from Michonne, as she's sitting right behind Daryl. Next, we have the eeny meeny miny mo scene. I went through and counted the amount of times we see each character's face during this scene. Eugene, Rosita, and Glenn all got 1 scene each. Everyone else got 2. This didn't tell me much, so I decided to do another count, this time only counting the scenes where we see not only their faces, but also Negan's bat in their face as well. This eliminated any filler scenes that were put in to confuse us. The results of this count were very interesting. Rick, Maggie, Sasha, Eugene, Rosita, and Glenn all got 1 scene. Abraham, Daryl, Aaron, and Carl each got 2 scenes. Michonne, however, is the only person in the group that didn't have a single scene with Negan's bat in her face. There were, however, the last 2 point-of-view scenes prior to the actual kill scene, where the bat appears to be pointed at the viewer. I think this further confirms that the person's eyes we're seeing through is in fact Michonne's.
Pissing our pants yet?
Let's examine a few other smaller hints that may or may not be actual clues, but are definitely worth mentioning. First, the piece of Michonne's hair that was put on the walker.
That's Michonne's.
Yes, they put a couple of arrows from Daryl's crossbow there too, but what's interesting is the amount of screen time and focus they put on Michonne's hair. It's almost like the arrows were only there to make this clue seem not as obvious. Then we have this scene between Rick and one of the Saviors.
What if it's the last day on Earth for you? For someone you love? What if that's true?
The Savior mentions that it could be the last day on Earth for someone Rick loves. It's also worth pointing out that the title of the episode is Last Day on Earth, so there could be some importance here.
Are you up for this?
It's gonna be a fight.
We'll win. We have to.
We'll win.
The last thing I'm going to say about this is that Michonne is currently one of the most stable characters in the group. In other words, she's not currently going crazy or doing stupid things. I think because of this, most people are going to dismiss her as a possible kill-off character. There's so many other characters that we're expecting to die soon. This fact alone will make her death by Negan one of the most shocking moments in the show's history.
So, is there anything you can tell us about anything about who might have gotten smashed?
The thing about this, if people are ginned up about this cliffhanger, this is what I would say. We have to do an episode that justifies it to you. We have to do something so great and so intense that you're like, okay, all right, fair play. And that's the challenge we have, and we're going to do it. We're going to deliver you something fantastic.
There we have it. Who do you think Negan killed? Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more.
Everything we need is right here, inside these walls. We're not losing any of it again. I'm not.
No, you're not. I'm not.